So my wife comes home the other day with a prescription. What the heck am I supposed to do with these? Oh, hey, so I started searching on how to use flax seeds. There wasn't much. Most people are saying, you know, use it in wood varnish and to season your baseball glove. Well, my baseball days are behind me, so I started thinking of what we can do from a culinary aspect with flax seeds. These guys. So I thought of 3 ways to do this. First one, just as an addition to an existing recipe. The second one is to feature it. And the third is to use it like a spice. Let's get cooking. Of course, the first thing you want to ask when doing something new like this, especially if it's prescribed by a doctor, or, well, they don't prescribe it, they ask you to start putting it into your meals, is what is it good for? You know, flax seeds are very high in omega-3 fatty acids, lignans, which are antioxidants, dietary fiber, both soluble and insoluble. Think of it almost like oatmeal. They can help with cholesterol and they can help lower your blood pressure. Sounds good to me. So the first thing I thought of was to add them into something. So what I thought of were those little breakfast bowls that, you know, those overnight breakfast bowls that yogurt, oats, stuff like that. So I got a cup of yogurt, a cup of oats. I've got old-fashioned oats here, a cup of milk. The yogurt I'm using is vanilla flavored, so it's got some sweetener in it. If you want to go plain, go ahead. If you want to go plain and add honey to it, even better. So let's add some flax seeds to these. I'm going to go about 1/8 of a cup, which is 1 ounce. And we'll just stir these up. Okay, so the nice thing about these is you can throw in kind of whatever you want into the jar. I've got figs. We'll throw some figs in there in one of them. Crystallized ginger. Gotta go with some raisins. You know, raisin and oatmeal, it's a good combination. Maybe we ought to make a cookie out of that. And the fourth one, if I have any left over, I think I'll just leave plain. And I'll just garnish it with some other stuff when I'm done. Okay, so that's all mixed up. Let's move these to the bowls. I'm just going to use my measuring cup and just pour it right in. Okay, so it looks like I didn't have extra. So we're just gonna lid these up. And they go in the refrigerator for at least 4 hours. Overnight would be best. Hey, the next recipe is the cracker. Get yourself a big bowl. You're gonna start off with 1/4 cup of chia seeds. These have a lot of the same good stuff as flax seeds. I've got 1/2 cup of quinoa. Tri-colored, all kinds of color in there. 1/2 cup of sesame seeds. Now, ordinarily I would roast these off, but these are all gonna go get baked, so I don't feel the need to do that. And we're gonna go with 1/4 cup of our flax seeds. Maybe a little more. So, we also gotta put in some flavor here. Nice heavy pinch of salt. Some black pepper. Now you could put chopped rosemary in here, dried herbs or fresh herbs, whichever you want. You know what I want. Ancho. Probably about 1.5 teaspoons there. Now the big thing is water. I got 3/4 cup of water. Give this a stir. Now for the tough part. We just let it sit for 10-15 minutes. Oh, 15 minutes already. You look at it, there was a bunch of liquid in here. It was floating around. It's all absorbed, all that liquid, which is what we want. So I'm just gonna put it out onto a baking tray. You can line this with parchment paper. I've got a silicone mat. I'm gonna take this little mini offset spatula and I'm gonna flatten it out. You want it about not quite 1/4 of an inch. For those of you that are metrically minded, about 3 to 4 millimeters. So you want it thick enough that it's going to hold together when you break it apart, but thin enough that it's going to cook all the way through. Okay, there you go. This goes in the oven at 350 for about an hour. Okay, it's been an hour. Now to let this cool. After about 10, 15, 20 minutes, when it's cool enough to handle, flip it over. Don't worry if it breaks, because we're gonna break it up anyways. Hey, for the third recipe, I'm gonna use it like a spice. Now I just toasted off 2 tablespoons of our flax seeds, with a teaspoon of cumin and a teaspoon of coriander. Did that until it started getting fragrant. It started popping and all kinds of fun stuff. Next step, it goes into the spice grinder. Teaspoon of turmeric. Teaspoon and a half of Ancho powder. Okay, here's our spice rub. What can we put this on? How about salmon? That works for me. To prep the salmon, first thing we gotta do, my wife likes the skin off. Take a little bit off. and angle down into the fish. You want to start turning right about where the skin hits. Get your knife worked in there, and then grab the skin, and start moving the skin from side to side. Comes right off. Next step, we have to check for pin bones. Sometimes you can see them, sometimes you can feel them. Just rub your finger along the spine. Every time you see a transition between two different types of muscle tissue. So like this right here is going this way, and then this starts going this way. Usually right about there is where all the pin bones are. So I'm going to pull these out. Okay, all the pin bones are out. Set it on our tray. Clean this up. Let's take our spice mix. We're going to add a little bit of olive oil to it. And we're going to make a paste out of it. We got a nice thick paste. First thing we're going to do is we're going to season our salmon. Black pepper, salt, and now we'll put our paste on it. You want it a little bit thick because it's going to make a nice crust. There. Into the oven, 350, 10 minutes. Okay, our crackers have cooled to the point where we can handle them. I'm going to turn them over and break them up into chunks. You want to turn them over because you want them to dry out on both sides. And with these silicone mats, they're not going to dry too well. But I'm going to break it up into a few chunks. Give it a little taste. So while we're waiting on the salmon, it gives us enough time to make a sauce. So a little olive oil. A little finely chopped onion. We'll let that go for a little bit. Just a small pinch of salt. Just to get things going a little bit. You can also use shallot for this. Kind of whatever you want. I'm just throwing this together. Okay, the onions had time to cook up a little bit. Throw some garlic in there. Be careful with the garlic, you don't want it to burn. Now let's add some cream. Hit it with a little lemon juice. Some parsley, white pepper, and just let this reduce down. It's not going to take very long. Finally, about a tablespoon of butter. I'm going to cut it up just a little bit more so that it disperses and melts evenly. I'm going to turn off the heat. Whenever you add butter to a sauce, cooking's done. It's time to serve it. Just stir until all that butter is melted and you're good. There we go. It's time to plate. Okay, our sauce is ready, our salmon's ready. Let's plate this up. First, a little sauce. I like to put it down in the middle. Just a little design, whatever you feel like doing. Then place our salmon right over top of it. There you go. So here's our salmon. Got our little breakfast bowls. I topped it with some blueberries and some toasted almonds. Very nice. And our crackers. What would be good with the crackers? Hummus. But then again, I could probably make the hummus with the flax seeds. I'm gonna think about that. Hope you enjoyed this. I'll see you next time. Hey, go ahead and give this a like.